So one day I get a phone call from this company in France saying that we love to invite you as a speaker. There's this conference of like 5,000 French companies and small businesses, and we love for you to come and speak. So in my head, I'm like, yeah, man, free trip to Paris, let's do it. I said yes. And then they call me back the next day and say, oh, we just want you to know that the talk will be in French. And I was like, and they said it's a year. They gave me a year. So I had one whole year for this. So I was like, okay, I'll take this as a challenge.
What are the things that inspire you outside of food? Like, this is what I consume, which might not be connected, but just kind of inspires me.
Yeah. So I think for me, it's a variety of things. I was one of those kids who went for every possible class that there was. Everything from whether it was karate or roller skating or singing or trying to learn how to play an instrument. I've even gone for candle making, chocolate making. I went for a box making class. Okay, like literally, I was 12
In
years old.
hindsight, that was a good thing.
It was great. Like everything that I did, I mean, it just kind of added up. And like now I'm like, oh, I know the construction of this box thanks to this dumb class that I attended when I was 12 years old. I love learning. So I would keep doing things, like whether it was art class and that hasn't stopped till today. To me, it's incredible how they all just sort of add up and how you can draw from, something that you're learning that is so different. Like, music doesn't have to do anything with cooking, but then, something from it just kind of inspires you. Or these candle classes that I did. And then, we now have a range of candles at Le15, which is like cake scented candles. At least for the last 6-7 years, I pick one thing that is not work related, which to me is like a really big challenge. And I give myself the whole year to sort of prep and plan for it.
Give me an example of some of the ones.
Yeah. So some of the ones that I've done already in the past was, for example, running the half marathon, say 4 years ago. So it was one of the things that I wanted to check off my bucket list. And then I just said that, okay, I'm going to do this. And I found like a friend of mine who's a sports scientist kind of helped me. I've always been active, but I'm not like a runner or anything. So I still remember the first day I went to meet my running coach, and he just looked at me and he was just like, he said no. And I just left that. I spoke to my friend Shamal, who was helping me, and he was like, you have two options. You can either just take that at face value and quit right now, or you can just show up and see how it goes. So I was like, okay, I'll just show up every day for training and then just take it from there. So I would just put my shoes on and he would just be like, okay, this girl is here. Then he'd like, slowly he warmed up to me. And I think in a month, like he was really like, rooting for it that I should be able to do it as well.
Yeah.
So those 3.5 months were torture, and the marathon itself was torturous. I did it.
Yeah.
So, a lot came out of it. So for example, to help myself, I kind of gave off sugar and I started really eating right. Things.
Yeah.
And at that time I was, if I'm going through these things, I'm sure that a lot of other people are. So we actually came up with a Le15 light, like a range of healthy desserts at that time because I was.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things that just play off each other, right? Like that was not the intention, but it just something that came out.
Yeah, because you get insights from doing other things, right? And sometimes you don't realize what kind of insights you can draw. When I go back to the box making that you mentioned, I can imagine as a kid, if somebody asked me to go for a box making workshop, are you mad? Would have been my reaction. The fact that you did it, but in hindsight, it worked out. What else did you have as your challenges?
I've done at least 5 or 6 now. So marathon was one. So I lived in France, and one of the things that I always felt was that my French wasn't that fluent, or that I couldn't have a proper conversation with someone in French. So I was like, okay, I really want to take French classes. And ever since Le15 started, that was the thing that I wanted to do, but I never just got the time to do it, or I didn't make the time to do it. And then one day I get a phone call from this company in France saying that we love to invite you as a speaker. There's this conference of like 5,000 French companies and small businesses, and we love for you to come and speak. So in my head, I'm like, yeah, man, free trip to Paris, let's do it. I said yes. And then they call me back the next day and say, oh, we just want you to know that the talk will be in French. I was like, and they said it's a year. They gave me a year, so I had one whole year for this. So I was like, okay, I'll take this as a challenge. I did that. Then I took French lessons. I went back to this private tutor that I had in college before I left for France, and I did lessons 3 times a week. And then I did it. I went on stage, and it was 4,500 French people, and I had a talk for 12 minutes. And my biggest victory was that mostly 90% of them were 50-year-old male. Like I was, one of the only women in that room and really young. And I made them laugh. Like I made the whole room laugh. So I was like, oh, I made French people laugh. Like, I hope they weren't laughing at me, but it was.
I'm sure they weren't. Sometimes your reflex is to move to a language which you're comfortable with more. Did you have points where you suddenly almost switched to English?
No, I drank a lot of wine before going on stage, and my French was excellent. I drink wine, so I was
that just worked out.